Are you interested in how to start homeschooling? Well, in this video, I give you my 5 tips for how to start homeschooling. Hi, I'm Heather and I'm a homeschooling mom of 2, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you my 5 tips for getting started in homeschooling. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. I do day in the life videos, review videos, and how-to videos just like this. So let's get started on how to start homeschooling. Tip number 1, start with your state standards. Now, every state is different when it comes to homeschooling, and some states are very liberal or very strict on their homeschooling standards. So a state like California is going to have different requirements than a state, say, like Texas or New York or New Jersey. So what that means is each state says what they allow for homeschool and how you are to notify your school district and your state that you have decided to homeschool your child. There is different age requirements as well when it comes to starting homeschooling. So different states will start at different ages that you're allowed to homeschool, as well as different requirements for things like attendance and keeping track of what curriculum you're using or keeping track of what they're actually learning in the homeschool. So your first thing you're going to want to do is pull out that handy dandy page called Google, and you're going to want to type in your state plus homeschool requirements, and you're going to be able to pull up the legislation, that's what it's called. You're going to be able to pull up the legislation. It sounds weird when it came out, but we'll keep growing. You're going to pull up what your state requirements are for homeschooling. That is tip number 1. Number 2 is curriculum. You're going to want to decide what curriculum you're going to use or what non-curriculum you're going to use when you've decided to homeschool. Now, this is where it gets really overwhelming when you start looking online or typing into Pinterest or pretty much trying to navigate through the curriculum jungle that's out there nowadays. So remember that it is a business. Curriculum in itself is a business. And so there are people just trying to sell you curriculum, telling you that it's the best kind because they're trying to make the sale. So really take the due diligence to go through and decide what learning style you are and what curriculum fits into that. Now, there are different styles of education when it comes to homeschooling, and the major players are classical, Charlotte Mason, eclectic, unschooling, and online school. So those are kind of the main 5 that are out there. And then within those types of learning styles, there's different curriculum. Now, you can either choose to buy it all in a box, where it's just you go to that company, they send you every single subject, it's all in one nice kit, or you can piece it all together online for free, or piecing it together by just using other materials that are from different styles of education all wrapped into one. So really deciding what kind of curriculum you're going to be using is a huge task. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below in the comments, and I would love to either help you figure out what curriculum to use or send you in the direction to a homeschooler that's more experienced than I am, that's maybe used that curriculum for different ages that I might not have the experience in. So if you have a question about curriculum, that's the place to leave it. And that is tip number 2, to find out what curriculum you're going to use. Tip number 3, decide what your homeschooling year and daily schedule is going to be. Now, I say that because depending on what your state requirements are, you might have the option, like we do, to be able to school year-round. And if your state allows you to do that, decide. Do you want to school when other people are in school, kind of along the public or private school system? What is that, September to June? Or do you want to school year-round and take different types of breaks off? So really looking at your full calendar that you're going to be teaching through and deciding what is that going to look like for your family. Every family is different. I have met tons of homeschoolers, and I don't think any of us school on the same calendar. And that is just to give you some confidence and some reassurance to know that if you're choosing to do it a little bit differently than, say, your other homeschooling friend, it's okay. It's okay because you are teaching your child and taking their education into your hands, no one else's kids. So you do what's right for your family. So back onto doing a schedule, you want to decide what your yearly schedule is going to be. what your daily schedule is going to be. So you can decide, depending on your state requirements again, do you want to school 5 days a week or 4 days a week or 3 days a week or 6 days a week? It's your choice, but deciding what is that going to look like for your family on a daily basis, what breaks are you going to take, and then what types of pieces of your curriculum or subjects are you going to be doing each day. Now that can be a really daunting task, and there are some major players out there right now in the homeschool community on Pinterest that I will link below that have helped me navigate this journey of figuring out my schedule. And it is okay if your schedule changes. I can tell you that from homeschooling now for a few years that it is hard to keep on the same schedule because our life changes and seasons of our life change. And so it is okay to plan something at the beginning of the year and switch it when you feel it's right for your family. So number 3 tip is get on a schedule. Tip number 4, get organized. Oy, this can be fun if you are a type A, fun, loving to organize person, or this can feel like a complete crazy time if you are a loose person who doesn't really organize or plan things in advance. And let me tell you, it doesn't matter what type of homeschooler you are, homeschooling can get done either way. But you do need to have some type of idea of where you're going to house all the materials. And when I mean all materials, I don't mean that you need to have all of this stuff and curriculum. I just mean where are the art supplies going to go, or where are their notebooks or books going to be kept? Some place that you and your children can identify as the homeschool space. So what is that going to look like for your family? I can tell you that there are some really inexpensive ways and some super expensive ways that you can do this. And I will link down below again some of my favorite homeschooling blogs or Pinterest boards that I've used as inspiration to live in a more simpler, more minimalistic homeschooling lifestyle. So number 4 is get organized. Tip number 5, plan out what extracurricular activities or co-ops that you're going to be doing. Now, let me just say, this is the thing to do if you do not want to be the only person teaching your child. And that can seem kind of odd, right? Because you are homeschooling your kids so that you can teach them. But homeschooling is more about facilitating the education, not teaching the education. So what that means is figuring out what extracurricular subjects or programs that your child is going to be involved in. Now, for our homeschool co-op, we have the option of a math co-op, we have the option of doing a science co-op and a history co-op. And so there are 3 subjects right there that if I decided to, I would not have to put into my facilitating schedule. I would actually just make sure that they show up and do the work at the co-op. So it is like a school setting, but not school, because there are ranges of ages in the co-ops, and there's different moms or educators who are taking on the role of that specific subject. So figuring out what co-op and extracurricular activities. Now, what is great, homeschooling is on the rise. There's over 3 million kids in the US alone that are homeschooling. And so a lot more opportunities for daytime programs are available. So definitely get on Google, search around, and see what programs are available for your child. There's things like music class and language classes. And like I said, there are math and history and science. And realistically, you could maybe take one subject and do the co-op for the rest of the subjects. Now, again, design your schedule, what fits for your lifestyle and for your family, but definitely figure out what are you going to teach and facilitate, and what are you going to use and utilize a co-op or extracurricular activities for. So tip number 5 was find your activities and co-ops. All right, ladies and probably gentlemen, here is your bonus tip that I have for you in this video. The bonus tip for getting started in homeschool is to figure out who your village is. Now, what I mean by this is you can't do it alone. And I'm sure there are moms out there that do it alone, but I can just tell you that the benefit from having a support group and a village surrounding you makes homeschool that much more enjoyable. And what I mean by that is figure out who are the people in your life that are there to support you and that can listen when you have a problem, or who are there to pump you up and help you through those really hard days when you want to lock yourself in the bathroom and cry. Now, that's not what homeschool is about, but we all know that you can have those days. And so figuring out who your support group as mom, as educator, as the person leading this journey for your child. Figure out who that is for you and figure out how they can help and support you. Now for our family, just to let you know how we homeschool, I'm not the only teacher for our kids. So I am there, my husband is there, their grandfather is there, we do a co-op, and then we also have a trade with another homeschooling family with our older and our youngers. So there is a lot of people that are helping to facilitate this education with my child or with my children, and that is something that I just really value. Along with that, I do go to a homeschool mom group, and we meet once a month and we talk about all the subjects that affect us as homeschool moms. So if you do not have that type of support group, go ahead and comment below here on YouTube, and I can try and help find a support group in your area or one online that can help you in this journey of homeschool. So those are my 5 tips for getting started with homeschool. If you're new here, again, consider subscribing and let's be friends here, and then let me know down below if you are a new subscriber. I love to say hello and meet you and get to know you a little bit more. If you are a returning viewer here, thank you so much for your time. I know that there's not a lot of time in the day to be sitting on YouTube, and so I do really appreciate every single view that I get here. And just so you know, I am creating this channel as just an outlet for me to be helping in all the ways that I can with motherhood and homeschooling. So thank you so much for watching. You can catch us over on Instagram anytime at the handle HR Torres, and we'll see you next time here on the channel. Bye guys! So if you're deciding to take on your child's and on today's video, we're going to be walking you through because it's just me in the room, so I don't know who the we are. Okay. So that is, I'm glad I teach English. And the bonus tip just for you. This is my marker. Okay. So those are my 5 tips for getting started with YouTube. That's not what we're doing. Okay. Okay.